Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kudash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Now more so than ever, the would-be judges, the 144,000 ordained from heaven, 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes of Israel, made up of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, primarily. And to the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations that have the appearance of the heathen nations. This is not a color thing, not a black thing only. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth, primarily for the elect. But the 2/3 and the heathen, they need to hear as well. The scripture says, prophesy to all. And what I'm going to talk about today is the downfall of Esau, Edom. Had a chat GPT. Let's see if I actually put it in my... But basically, when that chat GPT last night was asked if Edom was still in control of Jerusalem, chat GPT said yes, proving the scripture that all seminary, all churches, all rabbis, all Christians, especially the Christians that support, Jayishness, avoid, which is Ezekiel 36 and 5. When it says that Edom appointed the Lord's land into their own hands, which they did. And they're still there, fraudulently saying that they're the people of the Lord. And the whole world knows it at this point. People are just afraid to speak out, and especially to be blacklisted by them. And all these programs that they're doing here in America, all right, all these alphabet organizations that are at the heads of these deportation centers, these privately owned prisons, alligator Auschwitz and things like that, they're going to be owned by those same people. All right, those very same people are the ones who own and control alligator Auschwitz. All right, so here. Right here, this was a chat GPT lesson screenshotted. And it says, in Hebrew Israelite teachings, Edom is believed to represent the modern group or nation identified with Western powers of those who currently control the land of Israel, according to this interpretation. And then the answer from chat GPT was yes, Edom still has control over the land, Ezekiel 36, 2 and 5. The current state of Israel is viewed by some groups as being run or supported by people not descended, all right, from the true Israelites, but instead of Gentile nations, and that's a false doctrine. Particularly those, they are Gentiles, but they are Hebrew, and they indeed are Shemitic people. All right, particularly identified with Edom, this connects biblical prophecies that Edom would possess the land temporarily, but God would eventually restore it to the Israelites. That's what that's talking about the latter end, the latter days. Edom is in Israel today, and Edom has a complete firm grip over the faculties of government here in the West. Okay, and that action is causing mass oppression of the Israelites and the destruction of their own people, the rest of Edom, because it is at this point, with the way that the Israelites being done, both the northern and southern kingdom, the so-called Negroes and Latinos, as much as they are wronged by the current government and law enforcement, etc., they haven't raised up yet. It is not going to be them that fire the first shots. It's going to be other white people. That's 100%. And when these Israelites do finally decide to lift up arms or whatever you want to call it, it's going simply to be in survival and self-defense. All right. So I'm going to play a couple videos. Shout out to the beloved April O'Neil once again, coming with those bangers. These videos just be fire. Some good investigative reporting. I don't know where she be finding this stuff, but here we go. But this is Ernest Zundel in 1996. All right. And this is what he had to say. And this channel, I guess, is called Pastor Real Talk. All right. So let's listen what Ernest Zundel had to say in 1996. This, whoever recorded this of him speaking.
Nobody has ever analyzed why the German nation that had more Nobel Prize winners and more famous researchers and scientists and was one of the best educated countries in Europe turn on the Jews. Why did these good Germans turn on the Jews, who had more Jews living amongst them than even percentage-wise living in the United States today? Why was that? Because they displayed the same voracious ethnocentrism, power-grabbing, influence-peddling, buying of politicians, dominating of the public airwaves and the public media in Germany and so on, that they display in the United States. And I'm not much of a prophet, but that much I can say, based on history, that in the United States, mark my word, you will have Weimar conditions, and you'll have solutions to the Weimar conditions. It will be very similar to what happened in Germany. The United States is heading in the same direction. And there's only one difference. In the United States, there are enough guns out on the street and enough lawlessness in the public and a revolutionary spirit that founded that republic. This is not Germany, where the only people that had guns were hunters and soldiers and policemen. The United States is armed to the teeth. They have a spirit of revolution in their blood. They are heroes, are people who turned against what they call tyranny and foreign occupiers and so on.
Yeah, so, you know, that hence the reason why they want to take away gun rights and remove the guns from legal gun owners, et cetera, et cetera. All right, they're not worried, and then they'll try to use, you know, this orchestrated gangbanging situations in the major cities as an excuse to do it. And they're the ones arming these, you know, these factions. You know, we've provided you with plenty of information about gun drop-offs in Chicago, how these young guys end up with all these illegal guns, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, that whole sort of thing. You know, the prosthetic masks that are worn by law enforcement or whatever Edomite men, you know, that commit crimes, how they'll terminate certain gangbangers and make it look like, you know, the ops did it, the other, and you know, and then sit back and give one side guns or give both side guns and let them do what they do. Right, but nevertheless, it's orchestrated chaos that happens as a result of this. And now that same chaos is aimed toward white America. So let's get a scripture, which is 2 Ezra 6:24, because it's bringing great poverty to all these people. And then, you know, I'm going to play, you know, about maybe 3 or 4 minutes of this video on the screen, which, if you haven't looked at it already, the title's on the screen. It says, "White Americans React Regretfully to the White Nebraska Farmers Going Bankrupt for Voting Trump." And this is by, what's his name? Evans from Kenya, Commentaries, okay? That's the name of the video. Okay, but this is 2 Ezra 6:24, and it says, "And at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear, and those therein, the springs of fountains shall stand still in 3 hours, and they shall not run. Whosoever remaineth from all these," so there's going to be no services, no resources, no water, no food. "Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation at the end of your world." All right, so we're basically at the end of the world. we're in the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble. And because Jacob's trouble is everyone's trouble. It's not just Jacob. All right. But that's ushering in the end. That ushers in the collapse of societies. You look at the amount of you read 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, you look at the amount of floods, fires, uprisings of the people is happening like never before, and you still got people that want to deny what's happening literally in front of their face. 2nd Ezra 9:1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, when thou see a part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, uproars of the people in the world, all right, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. All right. So the end is manifesting itself. You have people that are questioning or pointing out the fact that these floods that have been hitting highlands, not even lowlands, but mountainous regions in America and flooding out certain towns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, causing death and property destruction. And a lot of this property is going to be has been bought up by certain individuals, which is more than likely going to be used for all these detention centers that are being brought up, that are being built up all over the place. And there's no doubt in my mind that most of these detention centers, which I'm going to play a couple short videos talking about it, are going to bring on 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, Revelation 2 and 10. All these things are coming to pass. All right. And when you look at all these alphabet organizations that are behind these things, okay, you're going to find the small hatters. All right. So the weaponizing of weather manipulation, the people are angry about that because the evidences are being shown that the cloud seeding, the engineering is not only destroying the earth, but it's making people sick, give people, all kind of illnessness, and who knows what it's doing to our bodies completely. But it's funny how after the rain, everyone has these cold-like symptoms when you don't even have a cold. You get headaches. All the metals and stuff that's being found in the rain. You just just go scrape the dust off your car and put it under the microscope. For any of you scientists out there, I've been asking for for you people who have you've been in school and you own microscopes and things like that. Go scrape the dust off the window panes, all right, off your window sills and off your cars, and look at it through a microscope and see if the stuff isn't alive, is not moving around. This is what's getting on you, right? All these different metals and stuff being found in people's blood, clogging up your arteries, clogging up your reproduction, members. Men penis is shrinking, and all sorts of weirdness is happening to people. All right, but here we go.
I'm seeing all these videos right now where all these farmers are crying about not getting no help right now. You know what? Let me ask you something. What have you ever heard of a black farmer crying about it? Never. And you want to know why? Because they ain't never got no help in the first place. That's right. USDA is literally admitted to discriminating against black farmers. And literally black farmers had to sue thousands of them to get what white farmers are handed for free. And fast forward to today, all these farmers crying that they can't get no help. You see, black farmers, they've been struggling. Y'all just now feeling what they've been feeling for over 100 years. Black farmers, they used to own over 19 million acres of land. And guess what? Systematic racism, denied loans, shady politicians, and legal loopholes wiped them all out.
Yep.
Yeah.
My father's father used to own a whole lot of land down in Mississippi. All right? A lot of land. Matter of fact, when I think back when I was a kid, I remember talking to one of my older cousins in that street that they lived on where my aunt and uncle owned a grocery store and a record shop that was connected. Up and down, most of the houses and properties, land in that 2-block radius was owned by my grandfather. And it's just like she said, through unrighteous decrees. Matter of fact, let's read that. That it's all removed, because I know that my older cousin, the house across the street from the house where we all used to be when my grandmother was alive, when my grandmother and grandfather was alive, and all the kids would be there, their ginormous family. And then that lot, it was a small house out back behind the house, like a shed house and a garage. And then that lot, my older cousin, took over that lot, and he built the house from the ground up right there. So they still own that corner, in the house across the street where my uncle used to live. But all them other properties, this is Isaiah 10:1, and it reads, "Woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless." And that's what they do. And so what this white woman is talking about, so-called black people, all right, Israelites, all right, who weren't called black once upon a time. They were actually called Negroes and Indians before they were called black. They don't share that history with you. They went from Indians to Negro, then to black. And then in 88, they popularized African American, completely connecting you to something that has nothing to do with you. All right. And the Hebrew Israelites have been telling you this all along. And I'm going to do a lesson on just that, Lord's will, later on today or tomorrow. But through these unrighteous decrees, they've been oppressing and arresting our development. And now, Deuteronomy 30:7, those curses are now falling upon them. They're starting to be treated, and they're being treated this way by Amalek. Their own people are responsible for this. All right, because all the money is going to these houses of oppression that they're building, these alligator Auschwitz type places that they're building all over the place. All right, which is going to cause Edomites to suffer as well, which it is, and eventually pick up arms against this oppressive, regime. The same thing that happened in Germany against the same people who are perpetrating it, but then play the victim.
And now they're 1% of America's farmland. When the government finally tried to pass relief for the black folk back in 2021, white farmers sued to block it, claimed it was reverse discrimination.
So this is what I'm wearing for the interview. Business on top, period on the bottom.
Bitch.
Got my period this morning. Flex.
Somebody give a care. You got your period, dirty bitch.
Make that make sense. So, next time you see folks complaining about farm aid, why don't you ask them, where's the help for the black farmers? Ask them why their struggle is just now important when others have been suffering for centuries.
Maybe y'all saw the news out of Nebraska today. Apparently our entire state is going to go bankrupt in 2 quarters. Me and my husband owned a cattle ranch here, and I can confirm that all of the cattle ranchers here overwhelmingly voted for Trump. We support him. We voted for him. Something like 70% of our entire workforce is undocumented immigrants, and they straight up are not showing up for work anymore. They have all either fled the country, fled the state. They don't want to get raided while at work, so they have just moved on to work somewhere else. And straight up, we are going to go bankrupt now. We are going to go bankrupt. And we voted. We knew that the immigrants would get deported and he was coming after immigrants, yet we still voted for it. Overwhelmingly voted for our own demise.
Stupid.
I was talking to my husband last night, and I have to admit that it seems a bit foolish now when you think about it like that we voted for something that is now putting us directly out of business.
Yeah, man. That's exactly what they did. This is Deuteronomy 30:7. And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and them that hate thee, which persecute thee. So these Edomites are making decisions that's destroying them. The curses are now falling upon them. All right. So because they're also afraid that many of them will end up in these camps that are being built as well. So let's play New Jersey, what's her name? Travel with Lil 63. So I imagine this woman is born in 63. So which puts her in her early 60s. All right, but yeah, let's let her speak.
So I had a conversation with ChatGPT. So take it or leave it. It's just, I asked some questions. This is their answers, okay? So I wanted to know how many detention centers, aka CC camps, besides Alligator Auschwitz, are they building right now across the United States? And how many are currently in use and how many are planned going forward? Because I've heard about the one in Michigan that I've heard it's opened already. They said, here's a clear snapshot of the current expansion of ICE detention or CC camps in the United States. Currently open and in use. Alligator Auschwitz in the Everglades in Florida. We all pretty much know about that one. Opened July 3rd with a capacity of 5,000 beds. North Lake Processing Center, Baldwin, Michigan. Reopened June 16th. And I just now heard about it. Housing up to 1,800 detainees. Housing. Delaney Hall, Newark, New Jersey. Reopened May 2025 under Geo Group, holding 1,000 on the East Coast. California City, California, Core Civic converting a facility into a 2,560-bed ICE center under conversion, but already funded. 4 major detention centers active or starting very recently, so planned or under construction. Camp Blanding in Florida, emergency powers used to fast-track another 2,000-bed facility near Jacksonville. Colorado, 6 potential sites.
6.
ICE is eyeing 6 decommissioned sites. For example, Walsenburg, Colorado Springs, for repurposing. Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Offshore expansion up to a 30,000-bed capacity under Trump-era memo. Planned summary, at least 8 to 9 facilities in various stages, from active construction to under serious government consideration. Federal budget and nationwide rollout. Congress approved $45 billion for building new ICE detention centers, targeting 100,000 plus beds, doubling current capacity.
Wow.
Approximately 56,000 to 100,000. Contracts show dozens of for-profit sites being lined up in 8+ states: California, Kansas, Michigan, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, Texas, and Washington.
And I guarantee you, when the research is done on who other, because there's 2 more videos of her speaking, and it's really disturbing about the Colorado Springs, because that's where my sons and my grandchildren are. That really disturbs me, and my grandchildren, could definitely be mistaken for Northern Kingdom. So could my sons and my daughter. But the point being that, we just have to, I'm just going to believe on Yahweh B'Shem Shai. But I'm going to skip past her other 2 and play this one. And we get ready to close with some scriptures.
Hi, my name's Taylor. I'm on my way to Alligator Alcatraz from Missouri. I currently just hit the Florida border, and I have a story to share with you because of the platform that y'all have given me, someone from within Alligator Alcatraz has information to share with you through me. I'm honored that they've shared this with me, and it has been limited in its information to protect their safety and the safety of their family. And I'm just going to read it off so that you can hear this information too. ICE is raiding ISAP facilities and taking everyone into custody to Alligator Alcatraz. Anyone that comes into Alligator Alcatraz gets classified with colored bracelets to identify who's harmless, dangerous, to extremely dangerous. They're all mixed together. On the bracelet, there's a number that serves as a head count. They keep lights on 24/7. They do not have a clock. They don't know what time it is. Can't even tell if it's day or night since they don't have windows and sunlight doesn't penetrate the tent.
Damn.
The place is piercing cold. On one of the nights that there was a riot, as punishment, they were sent to public showers in the middle of the night, stripped naked into cold water, and sent back into their beds into a cold environment and stadium lights. Following these events, they took phone privileges for 24 hours. An ICE officer went to each cell block and asked anyone that wants to be deported to step forward. Inmates have noticed there are more tents and cell blocks being built. Lawyers are being denied access to clients. For context, and I had to look this up myself because I didn't know, ISAP stands for the Intensive Supervision Appearance Program, which is an ICE program that monitors immigrants who have been released from detention but are still in deportation proceedings. It's part of the broader Alternatives to Detention, ATD, program by ICE. It aims to mitigate flight risk and ensure compliance with immigration laws while allowing individuals to remain in their communities.
Wow, so what she just said is that they're putting devices on people to track people when they let them go, so that they can, keep track of them, keep them under surveillance while they're filling the facility up with new people. So this is very, very oppressive. All right, and that's a very stressful way to live. Because you're afraid of going back to that place, and you're also afraid of being deported, being taken away from your family, your new way of life. Just trying to make it in this world. Most of these people, like she said, like this farmer said, these were just people who worked on a farm. They would pose no threat to anyone or anything, and they actually were helping to make America go. And they were profiting off of this while oppressing the black farmers at the same time. And now they're facing that same oppression. And could also end up, as pale as they are, in these same facilities. So let's get a couple scriptures of things that are happening as a result of this. Prophecies that are coming to pass. This is Revelation 2:10. All right. Because eventually they're going to come after the men of the Lord. But many of the Israelites, of the 2/3, they're experiencing this already. It says, fear none of these things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, that ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee the crown of life. So some of us are going to get locked up and die in those places. They didn't have all those guillotines for nothing. And then it also, with that they're doing a catch and release. Those people being released are gonna get that mark, that charagma, referring back to Revelation 13. All right, 13th chapter. The MOTB, the mark of the BESAT, that charagma. Okay. Say you wanna work. You want these government subsidies, because all this is going to bring on riots, destruction, and uprising, and they know it. That's why they're militarizing. All right. So, America's heavily armed, but if you don't have armor piercing, and explosives, the Americans don't have that. They have, a lot of weapons and high-powered weapons and all weapons, and all that sort of thing. But they don't have military-grade stuff that could stop vehicles that are built to withstand, roadside bombs, et cetera, and they roll up in them batarams and knock down your walls and just, pop off the the flashbangs, and in come a flood of heavily armed soldiers with big metal shields that they're behind, shooting from behind them. You're not prepared for that sort of thing. All right, but that sort of fight is definitely going to come. All right. Not to mention too, another thing that I just crossed my mind is that there's going to be division. Some of these soldiers and some of that equipment is going to be used against the powers that be, because that's another thing that they worry about: insurrection from within. For those Americans who can clearly see that this is a violation of the law of the land, they're violating the law of the land, and you have those people who want to uphold the law of the land, and they're willing to fight to do it. Right, and that's going to bring this on right here. 2 Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right, because it's actually in the law of the land that if the government becomes oppressive, that we the people are to rise up and replace them with new people who are going to follow the rules to keep it we the people. And definitely we the people is being violently and removed by Trump and people like them and all their small hat handlers. Okay, all these NGO groups that are not loyal to America at all, that are putting all these things into place, which is why this woman is on the screen complaining. All right. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And a man shall have no pity on his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. The movie 40 Acres. All right. It was great tribulation, and people were definitely spoiling other people's houses. It also showed you the plight of so-called black and Negroes and natives who have farmland. All right, that's a must-see movie, by the way. All right, so with that, I want to give all praises, all honor and glory unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah Hakwadash Kwam Yasharala Abad Babal.